Hello and welcome to On Point. My name is Kristin Price. Today we are going to be talking about student sexuality and the Greek system. At Cal State Northridge, about 4% of the student body participates in a fraternity or a sorority. And many CSUN students consider themselves lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning. Joining me today is CSUN Activities Coordinator and Lecturer, Dr. Jameson Keller, President of Gamma Rho Lambda Sorority, Chloe Quintina, and CSUN alumnus and former fraternity president, Jacob Stockfish. Jameson, how large is the LGBTQ community within the Greek system?
You know, that's an interesting question because there's those that are known and out, and then there's those that are closeted. So I think a good estimate would be about 10%. But those wouldn't include everyone who's out. I would say maybe 2% are probably out to their brothers and sisters.
So the rest of people we don't know about yet?
They remain closeted for fear of being ostracized, being removed from their fraternity or sorority. Many of them are chapter leaders. Usually that tends to be the case because sometimes they overcompensate for being different, and so they tend to go towards more leadership opportunities. So they're fearful of being removed from, for example, being a chapter president like I was. So.
Okay. And Chloe, how does your sorority support people coming out or with being accepted?
Well, since we are a queer-based social sorority, we are already expecting for our members and prospective members to be from the community. We also have allies that are members, so we're trained in helping those who are LGBTIQ identifying to come out to their friends as well as their teachers or whoever. So we already have that incorporated into our mission statement. It's not something we even think about.
Okay. And Jacob, when you were president, was there a large presence of LGBTQ in the Greek community?
I'd say there was. There was, like James said, there's those that were closeted and those who were out and in various fraternities across the campus. So it was definitely known.
Okay. And Jameson, in recent years, have people become more accepting?
I think the answer would be yes and no. I think it's almost a trend to have what you would say token member who happens to be gay or bisexual or lesbian in an organization. Most national organizations are changing their standards and their code of ethics to make sure that they are inclusive. And so they're actually making those changes at the national level, but at the local level, I would say it's a trend, but with limits. And where the limits come in is it's okay to have a gay member as long as they're still upholding the heterosexual standard. And what I mean by that is it's great to have a gay member who will bring all of his sorority friends over to the chapter house, but it's not okay if he or she would bring a member of the same sex to a formal or to parties. Many of the members would consider that to be some actions that would portray their organization as a whole as being a gay fraternity or a gay sorority.
So are these just people's feelings, or are there actually rules that they can't bring him, or are they not allowed to separate like that?
I don't think they're stated rules, but I think that they are social standards that are not written.
Okay. And how would your fraternity act as a whole if one of the members comes out?
We actually do have a member that shortly after I graduated joined up, and he was the first that I knew of openly out member that we had, and we all seemed to greet him with open arms, and he seemed to fit in real good with us, and it was on my way out, so I can't really. I think everything's. He loves the house still, so I'm sure that he definitely got accepted.
Did he ever bring his boyfriend to maybe like a formal or a party?
No, he didn't. And he has brought him to parties here and there, but like you said, I think it was more of a fear of how some people in the fraternity would perceive him. Even though 95% of us, I'm sure, were perfectly fine with it, there is, like you said, some people who try to have that, it's fine as long as you bring all your girlfriends over, but that. I personally never had a problem with it if he would have wanted to bring him to a formal or anything like that, because we all knew that he was out, so I didn't see that being any problem. But I could see some people maybe having difficulty with dealing with it. But as a whole, I think we were pretty good about it. if he would have brought somebody around.
And Chloe, do you think that CSUN's Greek community is more accepting than maybe another place in a different part of the less diverse part of the country?
It's hard to say because GRL has chapters in other parts of the country that are considered to be queer community friendly, like the Bible Belt, for instance, at UC Missouri. There's a colony, there's chapters. But specifically in California, I would say no. But the climate after the Prop 8 issue was very anti-homosexual, was very anti-LGBTQ community, and so I think that our organization is striving to bridge the gap between the straight and the heteronormative community and our own system. So we have like an interesting paradigm because we have to fight stereotypes that we have about Greeks, and we also have to fight maybe the Greeks' stereotypes about us. I think we're a bit unique, and we're too new on campus to really say what kind of impact that is.
When was your national organization founded?
In 2003.
Okay, so I think that that's a good example of the fact that historically fraternities and sororities, at least the national ones, were so restrictive of having openly gay and lesbian and bisexual members, and so what these students finally had to do was create their own organizations. And so I think you're absolutely right in the sense that Greeks on campus who are more traditional don't consider you or your organization as fully Greek.
No,
but then
definitely not.
on the flip side of that, the LGBT community questions why you're even wanting to start a sorority because it's, in some respects, politically, they're very anti.
Yeah, you're saying that you're
Heterosexist,
counter-identifying instead of disidentifying. There's all kinds of issues within the queer theory subject that you start breaking apart when you have a group that is identify with the LGBTIQ community within the Greeks. Definitely. Here we are. Are we supporting them? Are we against them? What are you guys doing?
And do you know how people reacted to a chapter, let's say in Missouri?
Oh, I know that a Missouri-based chapter is more ally-centered and less, but the allies go through the same kind of discrimination that the direct members that identify with the community do. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge for everyone. It's an exciting challenge because we want to institute social change. I think that's why we join fraternities and sororities. We know this is our avenue to do it, so we're excited.
And at CSUN, has there been an attempt to kind of put together the LGBT community like GRL and the Greek system before GRL?
Before this new group came on, there was a fraternity that struggled a great deal. Delta Lambda Phi was the name, and because of a lack of members, they disbanded. But I knew as a Greek advisor that there were students who were in need of just networking and support. Either they were out and just struggling with how out can I be in my organization, as well as those that were pretty scared to reveal themselves. And so I started a support group that was called Pillar, which was meant to not necessarily secretly, but just have create a safe environment for them to come and be themselves and talk about being fraternity men and sorority women who are asked to live up to these ideals when they would say probably some of their brothers and sisters aren't fully living by their ideals because they're not being accepted. So that organization lasted for a good 4 to 5 years. And then with just a transition of students graduating, it was tough to keep that going. So, but it's still an option that I hope we can continue.